On that scene, it would have been Sergeant Johnson.
Because he was your supervisor, correct?
Yes.
Then I got a couple more questions. If you stopped a vehicle in Brooklyn Center and you learned that there was a bench warrant for a weapons violation, you learned that there was a temporary restraining order a female had lodged against the person that said he was in the car, that gave his identity, but he really did. Mr. Wright ever give a valid identification for himself?
No.
And the other office, now you've got no valid information, you've got a gross misdemeanor, you got a temporary restraining order, you got marijuana smelled by your partner, you got no license, no insurance. Would you let that car go if you went up to it and were attempting to handcuff the individual and the car, he jumped back in? Would you have thought you should let him go, drive down the street?
No.
On the temporary restraining order, if you learn there is a temporary restraining order, is it protocol? Is it policy to, as soon as you learn that, jump out of the passenger side, run up to the car and ask the lady what her name was? Has that ever been heard of in police practice that you know of?
No.
Thank you, ma'am. That's all I have, Judge.
Is there any recross?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Potter, you were asked about some statements that you made to Dr. Miller on redirect, right?
Yes.
You also told Dr. Miller that you resigned on April 12th to protect your police family, right?
Judge, I object to this improper re-cross-examination. I never got into that. I just got
Okay.
into one statement.
Your Honor, the statements to Dr.
Yes.
Miller are at issue.
I'm going to overrule the objection, and you may answer back.
You told him that, right?
Can you repeat the question?
You told Dr. Miller that you resigned on April 12th to protect your police family, right?
If it's in the report, yes. I haven't seen the report except today.
Well, if it's in the report that you also said that they're very important people to you, would that be accurate?
Yes.
You have a very close relationship with the police officers, other individuals you work with or used to work with at Brooklyn Center, right?
Some of them.
Sergeant Johnson is a good friend of yours.
Judge, I object to this and outside the scope.
The objection is sustained beyond the scope.
You also told Dr. Miller that you don't make mistakes, right? You told him that?
If it's in the report, yes.
And you told him that you don't want to hurt or injure anybody. Right?
Right?
But you mentioned to Dr. Miller your relationship with the individuals that you work with, right?
Yes.
And that was very important to you, right?
Yes.
You advocated for their interests in a lot of settings, didn't you, for the people that you worked with?
I advocate for everybody.
You had a very close relationship with them. You referred to Sergeant Johnson as a rock star, haven't you?
I don't know when I would have done that.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Go ahead, Mr. Gray.
In in all of your years there as experience in all of the patrols that you conducted, did you have to rely on your partners for assistance anytime you did a stop or an investigation of any nature?
Yes,
And that would be the family of the police department at Brooklyn Center, correct?
yes,
And they were your second family, weren't they?
yes.
As far as complaints, in the 26 years that you were a police officer, did you ever have one citizen complaint?
Objection, Your Honor, as to the scope.
The objection is sustained beyond the scope.
I have no further questions.
Any further cross?
No, Your Honor.
All right. You may step down.
Thank you.
Thanks, Russ.
Does the state have rebuttal?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Does the state have any rebuttal witnesses the defense has rested?
We do not, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Members of the jury, all the testimony is in. So what's going to happen is that on Monday morning, I'm going to give you the instructions of law you need to apply in rendering your verdict, and then the attorneys will have a chance to do their final arguments to you. Now, so we're starting on Monday. I've got to read the cautionary long version again so that you don't do any research. Don't let outsiders influence you. This includes family members and friends and anyone else who is not actually involved in this trial. Don't discuss the case with other jury members during the trial. Again, you'll have plenty of time to do this at the end of the trial. Once you have had all the evidence, I've sent you to the jury room with my instructions and the verdict forms. Don't talk to anyone involved in the case, of course, the defendant, the lawyers, or the witnesses. If anyone tries to discuss this case with you outside the courtroom, please report this to me. When you go home over the weekend, do not talk to your family, friends, or others about the case. You may tell them that you are a juror on a criminal case, and that is all that you should tell them. Do not report your experiences as a juror while the trial and deliberations are going on. Do not email, blog, tweet, text, or post anything to Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, YouTube, or other social networking sites about this trial, even if I have not specifically mentioned other social media sites. Don't visit any chat rooms where this case may be discussed. Do not read or listen to news reports on newspapers, magazine, radio, television, podcasts, or other media about this case. Don't do your own investigation. Do not ask people about the case. Do not visit any of the locations mentioned in the trial. Do not use internet map applications such as MapQuest or Google Earth or similar mapping media to view the locations. Do not research anything about the case, including the issues, evidence, parties, witnesses, location, or the law through any form of written, print, electronic, or internet media, including Google, Safari, Firefox, Bing, or other similar search engine. Do not create your own demonstrations or reenactments of the events which are the subject of the case. Remember, you can't consider anything you hear or learn about this case outside this courtroom. If you don't follow these instructions, again, you may jeopardize the trial and we might have to start all over again. If you become aware that another juror may have violated any of these rules, you need to let me know that. Okay? So, members of the jury, first of all, I want to thank you for your attention during this trial. I want you to have a good weekend, and we'll reconvene on Monday at 9 o'clock.